You probably never knew his name, but chances are you waved at him at least once. Maybe while sipping your morning coffee or watering your fro. Every weekday morning, rain or shine, he walked the same route in the quiet town of Maplewood, Ohio. His name was Walter Harr, 67 years. To most, he was just the guy in the blue uniform, moving from mailbox to mailbox like clockwork. But he noticed when someone's newspaper piled up. He remembered, and he knew. No fanfare, no fuss, just a man doing his job with care. Walter never talked about retirement. He just smiled when people asked how long he planned to keep walking his route. "Long as these legs let me," he'd say with a chuckle. But one Friday morning in late October, something felt different. The air was crisp. The leaves were falling faster than usual, and Walter's pace was just a little slower. He made every stop like he always had, but lingered just a bit longer. At one house, he knelt to pet an old golden retriever who wagged like it was the last time. At another, he paused to look at a tree that he remembered planting with the homeowner 30 years ago. No one knew it was his last day. There was no party, no retirement banner, no announcement in the local paper. But when the residents of Maplewood opened their mailboxes that afternoon, they found something strange. Tucked in between bills and coupons sat a single envelope, cream-colored, handwritten, and simply addressed. "To the home I've had the honor of visiting." Inside was a letter, personal, poignant, and entirely unexpected. One neighbor opened it, read the first few lines, and froze. Another sat down on the porch steps, wiping tears before they even knew why. And by nightfall, a quiet buzz had spread down the street. "Did you get a letter from Walter? You need to read it." Maplewood didn't realize what it had, until the man who never asked for attention finally said goodbye. Each letter was different, not a generic farewell, not a copy-paste message. Walter had written 78 individual letters, by hand, one for every house on his route. Some were just a few lines, others filled the page. But all of them felt like he'd been saving them in his heart for years. To the Grays, who had just lost their dog Max, he wrote, "Max walked with me every Thursday for almost 9 years. He never missed a step, even when his hip started giving out. I still carry treats in my bag out of habit. He was a good boy. Thank you for sharing him with me." To the Newins, a young family who had moved in only 3 years ago, "Your son, Liam, reminds me of my own grandson. He always says thank you, even on the coldest mornings. He'll grow up to be someone who matters, I just know it." To Mr. Dawson, a widower in his 80s, "I left an extra copy of the Thursday paper each week because I noticed you do the crossword twice. Once in pen, once in pencil. That kind of patience is rare these days." Walter's letters weren't just thoughtful. They were deeply observant. He remembered names, routines, small kindnesses that even the recipients had forgotten. By evening, front porches across the neighborhood were lit by warm lamplight and tear-streaked faces. Some people read their letters aloud to family. Others folded them gently like something sacred. For the first time in years, Maplewood felt something it hadn't in a long time. Connected. And all because one quiet man took the time to say goodbye the right way. By Saturday morning, something unexpected began to happen. Neighbors who'd lived side by side for years, but barely exchanged more than a polite nod, were now standing together on porches, clutching Walter's letters like precious heirlooms. People who had rushed through their routines suddenly slowed down, drawn together by the quiet power of a handwritten goodbye. It started with Mrs. Jenkins, who set up a small folding table at the corner of Maple and Elwood. She placed a sign that read, "Thank you, Walter." Then came Mr. Patel with a thermos of coffee. The Parkers brought a box of donuts. Children made posters with markers and glitter. By noon, over 60 people had gathered on the sidewalk in front of Walter's modest brick home. Not because he asked, but because they felt something they hadn't in a long time: gratitude. When Walter's daughter pulled into the driveway to help him finish packing, she froze. Tears filled her eyes as she saw the crowd: families, veterans, single parents, kids, all holding signs that read, "We love you, Walter. You were the best part of our day. Come have coffee with us, anytime." Walter stepped onto his porch, stunned. He wasn't a man of many words. He didn't need to be. He just looked out over the people he had quietly served for 35 years and smiled the kind of smile that said, "You noticed, and that's all I ever needed." Walter never looked for recognition. He didn't post online. He didn't ask for thanks. He just showed up every single day with consistency, kindness, and quiet dignity. And in the end, it wasn't the mail that changed lives. It was the man who delivered it. In a world that moves too fast, filled with noise and distraction, maybe what we need most is a little more Walter. Do you know someone like him? Someone whose quiet kindness made your day better, even once? Share this story with them. Tell us in the comments, what's one small gesture you still remember years later? And if stories like this touch your heart, subscribe for more true stories that remind us ordinary people do extraordinary things just by being kind.